Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vince.
I wonder if I have medicine breath.
We've got Chris.
Faith and Begorra, Batman.
And I'm Kia. Hi, welcome to the show. I don't remember any of those quotes from what we're talking about. Medicine breath?
Yeah, that was beast
Who had
mode.
medicine?
Beast did.
That's in our Korvac.
Oh, okay. All right. So welcome to the show. We are reading Batman Dark Victory today. It's a big one. It's 14 issues, so we're only reading half of it. Then we are jumping over to our long read. We're doing the Avengers, the Korvac Saga. We read the Thor Annual last time, which was like kind of a prequel to the Korvac Saga, and now we're getting started with it proper with Avengers 167. Beast is in it. Beast mode. Drinking medicine. I still don't remember that line. And but yeah, let's stick with some Batman for a little while. We'll get to Avengers later here. This is the sequel to The Long Halloween, which we read. This was like one of our
Episode
episode
14.
Right? Wow.
With it was October 2015. So 6.5 years ago. We're finally catching up.
I wasn't even alive back then.
You weren't. My cousin Mitch guested, and he made he mentioned that he read the comic when I was driving home with him with one of my friends. He called him a hungover friend, and I said I know who that is, and I listened to that episode today, and you can put that together. It was the guest that was on the New Mutants episode of Your Stupid Minds. That's who it was.
Wow.
Cross continuity.
A deep web of
to find that out, you got to go download that summer episode of Your Stupid Minds.
Yeah. Put the editor's note in the episode. So it pops up
150 episode deep.
The web just gets deeper and deeper.
But we have an issue. So okay, I said this was a 14 issue series. It's kind of a lie, but not really. It's 13 issues, but there's also an issue 0. So for this episode, we're reading issues 0 through 6, and then later we're going to do 7 through 13. That's an even issue split. Issue 0 is kind of like I thought it was going to be all catch-up stuff, but it does have some newish stuff in here, so I think it might just be easiest for us to jump straight into issue 0 and kind of talk about what's going on here while we recap The Long Halloween. Yeah, let's just do it. This whole thing's written by Jeff Loeb, art by Tim Sale, who... Boy, Tim Sale is so good. All his art looks great. He's got some really distinct characters. We'll talk about all that as we go through. But it was the same team for The Long Halloween as well.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Similar setup too.
Yes, it's very similar.
Some might say exactly the same.
Yeah, very much exactly the same. In The Long Halloween, there was a killer on the loose who was out there and was
Name started with an H. Yes.
Killing people on holidays. His name was a Holiday, and he would just kill people on major holidays. And turns out it was Alberto Falcone, the son of the crime lord. Or was it? Yeah.
But then at the last page, Harvey Dent's wife was talking to herself, and she said, "Actually, I committed the first 3 murders, and then somebody else committed some murders, and I assumed it was Harvey, so I just stopped." So Alberto may not have committed the first 3 murders.
Yeah. Oh. Weird. I don't remember any of that. None of that has come up. None of that seems applicable to anything that I read today. And so now I'm like, wait a minute. What?
None of that is even mentioned. I guess, I read all of this, but I think in part 2, there's a couple of references where you're like, oh, this is like, because they're like, where's Gilda?
Yeah, Batman says that in one of the issues we read today.
Yeah. We'll talk about Gilda a little bit. Gilda Dent, the famous wife of Harvey Dent, Two-Face, that everybody knows.
Let's talk about Gilda Radner. That'd be better. She's the best.
Oh, that'd be good. She'd be a good Gilda Dent. So Alberto Falcone, for whatever all we know right now, was Holiday. He was the son of Carmine Falcone, like the biggest mob family. Were they the biggest mob family in Gotham?
Yeah, because he was killing all the other mob families, so to elevate his dad. That was the plan.
Yes, that was the plan. And, Batman had suspected Harvey Dent at the time, but he turned out to be wrong. And he's like, throughout this whole thing, he's really beating himself up over it, where he's like, oh my God, did I push my best friend away? And I was, I don't remember when it is, but at some point he's like, oh, I was even going to tell him that I was Batman. So they're like, they were good friends. On the night that they caught Alberto Falcone, Carmine Falcone was also killed by Harvey Dent, and Harvey Dent was splashed with acid or whatever and turned into Two-Face. Falcone got put in Arkham Asylum, and I guess we can sort of jump into the issue 0 from here, but he's across from Calendar Man, who is another villain who also killed people on holidays, I guess.
Yeah.
He's different, but he's similar, and he's less famous. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
well, he was in the original Long Halloween. He was basically the Hannibal Lecter, where they're like, "We know you know about this," and he's just like, "Oh yes, I know all the clues or whatever." So he seemed to know who the killer was, but he wouldn't tell them. And that's, I guess, one thing we should mention about Long Halloween. It assumes that you have DVDs don't exist, and you can't just watch The Godfather or Silence of the Lambs because it just steals whole scenes from them.
Yeah.
Yep. So meanwhile, in Arkham Asylum now, there is a new district attorney who is replacing Harvey Dent. Her name is Janice Porter, and she has showed up to try and help Alberto Falcone. And it's very much like thanks to his dad's connections and everything. And it's like, oh, you took a big beating from the Batman that night. You got your arm hurt. And she's trying to do like a whole, this was not the right way to carry out justice. And so she is telling Jim Gordon now that she's reopening the Holiday case. And Gordon's like, no, that's a bad idea. And she's like, no, you stood by and let Batman beat him up. That's not okay. Gordon's like, oh, shit. So this, I don't like this Porter character. So
I don't like her either. I thought she was Harley Quinn at first because she was in Arkham talking to a patient, and kind of helping them. But
I thought she was like a state attorney, like assigned by the courts. It's like, yep, this is your free attorney. No, she's the district attorney. It's like, okay.
But if you're assuming that the Long Halloween, which was what, like 96, 97, was good, and this is 99, 2000-ish, then like,
we didn't say that.
Yeah, like this as a sequel, you're doing the same thing again because Long Halloween was successful. But like the fact that Harvey Dent isn't here, it makes sense to throw like an extra, like, I don't know what this character's deal is, into his role to see how it messes with the Gordon Batman like trifecta. I like it. I like that from that setup because I don't know what her deal is, and I don't know her from anything else. So I don't know where this is going to end. So that's good for me too.
At this point in the story, I'm like, she works for the Falcones pretty much because she's trying to get one of them out of Arkham, and so she's got to be a bad guy, and that's it. But we'll learn more about her.
Yeah, plus she looks like a 1940s, like a Veronica Lake or some other,
Barbara
mall.
Stanwyck,
where, she's the lady's trouble is what I'm saying. Like she's hot in a dangerous way.
Yeah. Like the Oscar-nominated film Nightmare Alley.
So let's jump right into issue 1 now. All these issues have like one-word titles. This one is called War. And it starts with, what does it start with? It starts with Bruce Wayne's parents getting shot. Have we talked about this? How many times has this scene been depicted in media? Like ever?
There was a Grantland article where it was like literally every time their death has been filmed. And somehow they still squeezed it in the Joker movie. Like kudos to the Spider-Man Tom Holland movies for I don't even think they ever said the words Uncle Ben in all three of them. So kudos to them.
Yeah. So at the funeral for Bruce Wayne's parents, this is like him. He's remembering being a kid at the funeral, right? And everybody comes to pay their respects, except Carmine Falcone is there to like. And Bruce is like, this guy's here to do business, and he could tell that this dude was just playing evil, and he's dead now, so it's no big deal. But this is now about a year later, after the death of Carmine Falcone, and his daughter, Sophia, her name is Sophia Falcone Gigante, Sábado Gigante. She's grieving at the funeral. And it's not like the funeral, though. It's like some little mob funeral for everyone to be able to pay their respects for Sophia as well. So the story with Sophia is that she tried to kill Harvey Dent on that same night that her dad died, but she fell and like broke everything. So she's in a wheelchair. She's got like a giant head brace on. Yeah, that's her deal. She's at the funeral. Selena Kyle is there, and Who else is there? Mario Falcone is there as well, friends with Selena Kyle. Mario is one of the brothers. There's 3 siblings of the Falcones. You got Alberto, who's in Arkham.
Yep.
Mario, who
he's trying
was
to be
deported
respectable
for a long time.
I think he's trying to be respectable, though, right?
Yeah.
Yes, he's trying to be straight and on the straight and narrow. No criminal stuff.
Mario
for the
is Michael
Falcone anymore.
Corleone, I guess, in this scenario.
Well,
Sure.
But he is drawn to look exactly like character actor Frank Severo, the character actor who was in like Goodfellas and Godfather 2 and all of. He's basically, if you picture that Simpsons gangster with like the afro. Yeah, it's just him, which is funny too because he actually sued the Simpsons over it. So I don't know if anybody showed him this comic.
Wow.
Because not only, because I looked it up even, I was like, man, he looks exactly like this guy. I looked it up, and not only is Frank Severo, very clearly who this is modeled on, his character in the Goodfellas was called Frankie Carbone. That was a character in The Long Halloween.
Wow.
So, like, literally, they're like, all right, we're going to take the character's name and make it a gangster in the first one. Now we're just going to take the complete likeness of the character from the Goodfellas. And we're just going to stick him in. He's the brother now.
You know what? I like Goodfellas, but imagine how much better Goodfellas would be if it had Batman.
True.
If at the end when he's talking to the camera, like Batman just jumps out and punches.
Yep. A better movie. Scorsese,
Probably.
that's how you make Goodfellas just a smidge better. Throw Batman in.
just a smidge. He doesn't even need to be in the whole thing. Just pop out at the end.
Yeah. What Rolling Stones songs do you think Batman would listen to while he's thinking about Harvey Dent and how much he loves him?
So let's get to some Batman here. So Batman's coming to this funeral thing, and he's on the roof, and he gets attacked by one of the other mobsters, and this roof is way too small. It doesn't make any sense. It is one of the parts of Tim Sale's art that's a little bit weird looking. It's just Batman and another dude taking up the whole roof. It's a little bit weird.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed that. Sale's art I like in general, but that's so cartoony, you can't really tell what's going on. And yeah, there's a couple of other scenes that I'll mention when I get to it where I'm like, what's happening?
Tim has a lot to draw. This is a 48-page issue.
It is. It's a big issue.
I'm glad we broke this up. We read all of Long Halloween in one episode. We can't do that here.
That was a bad idea.
It's you say it's 48 pages, but Steve Ditko would scoff at you because look at how few panels there are per page. It's not like a 12-panel grid of like everything happening all at once. It's just like here's like a full page splash page of Bruce Wayne swimming in a pool.
Yeah. So Batman's fighting some mob people. The cops show up. They like run everybody out of there. They catch a few, low level whatever. There's nobody important. Meanwhile, afterwards, Bruce is swimming in his pool. There's a big through line where he's talking about his dad's mansion and the caves underneath and all this, and he's talking about them a lot. It doesn't really seem like it's leading anywhere, but it's definitely a through line. But Selena brings her friend Mario Falcone over to meet Bruce Wayne. And Mario is talking about how he's making his family legit now. He had been deported for a while, and he's back in America. And Bruce is like, I want nothing to do with this guy. Get him out of here.
So Selena and Bruce are dating in Long Halloween. I don't know if they're it seems like they're still together here.
Yeah.
But I think in Long Halloween, we weren't sure if they knew each other were Batman and Catwoman. We have a suspicion that Catwoman knows, Batman does not.
I think it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Batman knows, but she does not know.
Yeah, I don't think she knows.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my guess. Meanwhile, we have Janice Porter. The DA has gotten Alberto a court date. Gordon continues to complain about this, but he can't do anything about it. He's very grumpy about it in a very, he can't do nothing. Sorry, Jim. But he's also got trouble going on at home here. Uh-oh. Wife and the kid.
I feel like she
there.
left. Did she leave him in year 1? Is that when this happened? He's trying to get his kids on the phone.
Doesn't all of this? Doesn't Long Halloween happen over year 2? It's
this is part of the year 1 continuity. I think Archie Goodwin said Frank Miller's never coming back for this. So, but we want to continue it because we read year 2 and 3, which weren't really connected to year 1.
No,
but
yeah,
this
does feel a
right.
little bit like it could be a year 1 sequel
It,
more directly.
Yeah. I mean, Gordon's a little more young, and it just is a younger Batman too.
Mm-hmm. Now, meanwhile, back at Arkham, Harvey Dent is also there, and Sofia Falcone Gigante has ordered a hit on Harvey Dent. She wants it to happen on Halloween because that's the same night her father died. Also,
that was a long Halloween.
It was. It's also. I like. This is when I realized, like, oh, it's been 1 year later. Like, it feels like more like, I don't know. It feels a little weird to me that this is all 1 year later, but whatever. But yeah, she's like, I don't want my brother to be hurt. Nobody hurt Alberto. It's just a hit on Harvey Dent. Meanwhile, what's going on? One of Jim Gordon's bosses gives him a secret envelope on the bridge, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't think the office is safe to talk in anymore. You got to talk to the Batman. He's got to know what's
Chief
going on."
Chief O'Hara from the
Yeah, I was
Batman
gonna
60
say,
series.
O'Hara. Yes.
That's what my reference was earlier, Kia. It's not in the comic. It was Chief O'Hara's catchphrase from the TV show.
What was his catchphrase?
The Saints and Bagora. Thick Irish accent.
That's right.
Wonderful. He's a nice guy. He walks along that bridge to get home every night, every single night, even though it's out of the way. He just likes it. It used to be his old beat or something like that.
But this is dark and gritty. We can't have a 60s Batman here.
Yeah, not for long.
So now it's Halloween. Batman goes to visit Harvey in prison, and then the killers come and they try to bust a bunch of people out of Arkham to distract Batman, and then we get some Poison Ivy and some Solomon Grundy and a bunch of fun little bits with everybody. And Calendar Man has escaped, but Alberto Falcone is still there. He didn't run because he's like, "Hey, I'm innocent. I got no need to run." Well, wow, maybe he is innocent. He goes back to Harvey's cell, and Harvey is gone. Did he get kidnapped? Did he run away? Oh my God, nobody knows. Crazy. Then at the trial, so this is a panel where I really like how distinctly Mario Falcone and Alberto Falcone are drawn like right next to each other I think it's like his cartooniest panel here, right here at the court. But the judge rules that Alberto can be let out of prison, but he's going to be on an electronic monitor. Mario's like, hey, he can stay at my dad's old estate near Wayne Manor, which seems like a weird detail to put in there, but whatever.
Chris, is that a common sentencing? Is if you confess to being a serial killer, but you may have also been roughed up by the cops, then you get house arrest instead of normal like prison?
No, that's a little unusual.
Okay. We still agree he did this because he's under house arrest, but he gets to have house arrest.
It seems like they're going to have to reopen the case. So is
he on bail or something?
Yeah. Even though there's a confession, it seems like they're throwing out the conviction and they're going to have to retry him. Is what it seems like is going to happen.
Okay.
But still, you would hold him. You wouldn't give bail to, like you talk about a flight risk. He's like he's one of the heirs of a mafia family in Italy. Like that's pretty big flight risk.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to. They know his heart. He's not going anywhere. He's an innocent man, like he says.
Meanwhile, Sophia gets a little package. It's her dad's ring finger with the ring on it. Oh my God. Who mailed it to her? Nobody knows. Somebody breaks into Janice Porter's office, which used to be Harvey Dent's old office, and they steal all of Harvey's old case files.
Kia, that's a funny slip up because originally in the 40s he was called Harvey Kent, and they had to change it.
Oh, really?
Yep. Because they're like, wait, we already have another Kent. We're not going to make a story where Superman is like, oh, my cousin Harvey Kent.
And then somebody hangs poor Chief O'Hara off of the bridge. He's dead. He's left hanging there. There's a note with a game of hangman with some letters. You can tell it says none of you are safe. Whoa, what a cliffhanger.
It's N blank N E or N blank N blank are safe basically, but it's not clear what it's saying.
You're right. That's true. It's not 100% clear, but that's what it looks like.
It could say 9 of you are safe.
It could.
Oh, it could. So issue 2, Secrets is the title of this issue. Batman has currently got the Riddler strung up, and he's asking him about Chief O'Hara. He gives him a copy of the Hangman note, and I really like this, where Riddler's like, hey, the papers didn't say anything about our note being left on him. They were, yeah, we kept it out of the papers, but he says, hey, I think this is a riddle. I need you to study it for me, Riddler, and come back and tell me what you can figure out about it. And he's like, well, what if I can't figure anything out? He's like, figure something out. You got to. There is, who's this jerk who's given Gordon a bunch of shit in his office? He's like, I brought you from Chicago.
This is former
be blah, blah,
Commissioner
blah.
Loeb.
Yes, this is the crooked.
Yeah.
He was a year 1 character, wasn't he, Vince?
I think so. I feel like he's also in the Dark Knight.
I'm gonna skip past him because I don't really care about him.
He was corrupt. He's a corrupt cop. I think he's gonna be our second victim, right? If I recall correctly.
Oh, he is. I checked my notes later. Yes,
he's very obviously introduced because they're gonna kill him off.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
He does matter to
Commissioner
us.
Loeb
Great.
to Jeff Loeb, no relation. Because I think that's right.
No.
Because I saw Dark Knight and I was like, oh, it's a homage to Jeff Loeb. No, not the case.
I mean, sort of.
We've got Bruce in the Batcave, who's talking to Alfred. He's really just kind of reviewing notes and like thinking about possibilities and stuff. And Alfred is just like, hey, maybe we should invite Selena over for Thanksgiving. That'd be pretty cool, right? And Bruce doesn't even answer him about that. He does not care about Selena at all in this comic, and he instead is just thinking about Harvey. I think he wishes he could date Harvey here. He wishes he could.
Just like Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
That's fair. It's fair.
The late John Polito, I'm looking him up. The John Polito voiced Commissioner Loeb in the Batman Year 1 cartoon. That's perfect casting.
Yeah.
Giving him the hi-hat, Commissioner Gordon.
Meanwhile, we've got it's the middle of the night now, and Mario Falcone has asked Jim Gordon and Janice Porter to come to his father's grave, which is a crime scene because the body's been stolen and dismembered. Why?
It's been a month too.
Yeah, and why are Jim Gordon and it's just okay? Anyways, they show up.
Yeah,
Sophia.
Like any cop could do this, but okay.
Yeah, but the commissioner and the DA.
Yeah, you need them both.
But again, as he mentioned it in front of the jury, he's like, I'm going to be living near Bruce Wayne. I'm a VIP, so don't just send regular
So he's
cops.
got access to the most important cops at any time of night. He texts them or calls them because there was no texting here, and then they show up. But then who else shows up? Sophia shows up in her wheelchair, looking all crazy, and she refers to Mario as Alberto, and he's like, that's not my name, I'm Mario. And she's like, don't work with the cops. I was very confused by this name slip up because the character also mentions it, and it doesn't seem to come back at all. Maybe it will later. Who knows? Alberto is stuck at the father's estate, but there's like some voice talking to him. And it's very clearly like not in his head because we see the voice bubbles and they're like regular voice bubbles, just not pointing to anywhere. So I'm like, oh, there is a real voice being heard. That's how I know. And now it's Thanksgiving.
You're too smart for this children's Batman comic. You've solved the mystery.
And Jim asked Porter if she would have like a Thanksgiving dinner with him because she's new in town, and she's like, sorry, I already have plans. And anyways, on Thanksgiving, someone sneaks into Janice Porter's hotel room while she's asleep, and she wakes up and starts making out with him. And it's a dude in a shadow, though. We don't know who it is. Who's she making out with? Oh my god!
I don't know why. The first time I read this, I thought it was Gordon, and I don't know why. Probably because they were in the scene right before them. It's not Gordon, but
no, it's not Gordon. No.
Why did I read it that way? Okay.
We're having a big Thanksgiving dinner now at Wayne Manor. Selena's like on the other side of this long table, and she drags her chair up so she can be closer to Bruce there.
Yeah. Again, now Jeff Love's just ripping off the film Batman.
You're right. This does happen in the movie, doesn't it? I forgot. We talked to the Riddler again. Riddler's only advice about this Hangman game is like, well, I think it takes 2 people to play a game of Hangman, and like there's some wrong guesses on here, so that's his big revelation. Cool.
He's good. Good. That Riddler.
Good job, Riddler. And then someone else has been hung. Oh no, it's former Commissioner Loeb. Oh, dang. And the Hangman note here says 2 can play this game. All right, fine.
Thanks,
I thought
Riddler.
it was Toyman. This guy's body looked just like Toyman. And I was like, did I get something mixed up here? And then the next issue is called Toys. And so I was really just like, is that Toyman? But then also Scarecrow's on the cover of the next issue, which then really threw me off. Because what?
The Hangman probably killed the minor villain Toyman for no reason.
For no reason.
And not even on a month.
So now we are.
Yeah, what was the holiday? Oh, I guess it was Thanksgiving, wasn't it? Okay.
Yeah, Thanksgiving. Next issue is Christmas. We're on about a month cycle here.
Again, this is literally just the long Halloween. This is the same. It's very frustrating.
It's a mystery killer whose name starts with an H, and they leave little clues, but it's not the Riddler or Calendar Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've all the clues point to Two-Face, so you're like, well, then it's not Two-Face. Now, is it?
Yeah.
We've got a lot of
got a third dead cop.
Feels like a lot of filler. Yeah, another dead cop.
Yeah,
we start with another murder.
Yeah, there's a subplot that will be resolved in another series, not this one.
Oh, really?
So look forward to that. Okay. Yep. Cool. Yeah, I read all of this, and a character that I won't name comes back in the last issue, and they're like, "Where have you been?"
Did you mention like Catwoman? You mentioned Catwoman win in Rome on the last one. Is that the other?
Yes, that's the spinoff that I am referencing.
Is that also Loeb and Sale?
I believe so. Yes.
Interesting.
I think it's only 6 issues, if I'm remembering right. It's not as long as these.
That sounds right.
Okay. So this cop that got murdered was a old dirty cop who was going to go to jail, cut a deal with Harvey. He helped Harvey by testifying against other cops, and now he's working at a bouncer at a strip club, the Cheetah Room, which is owned by some mob family. We'll get to them later. And this Hangman has another note that says knows if you've been bad or good, because it's Christmas themed, you see. And Batman then goes to interrogate the owner of this strip club. It was Zuko is his name. Zuko Maroni?
No, Anthony Zuko is the fat guy.
Oh, well, I'm wrong. Okay.
Yeah, Marconi is the brothers, the Marconi brothers, and then Zuko is, if you remember from your Batman the Animated Series, Vince, he's the guy from Batman the Animated Series. With like Tony Zuko.
I see. I hear Tony. I hear Tony Zuko, and I think Danny Zuko, and then I think Grease.
Yeah. Well,
these two. Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, it's from the Robin 2-parter where he finds the guy that killed his parents. So as soon as I saw him, I was like, well, somebody's parents are getting murdered.
No, I thought. Anyways, I thought a bunch of people were related. Never mind.
Is Robin supposed to be in this series?
Oh yeah.
We haven't seen him at all.
Okay, we haven't gotten there yet.
He's in the back half. Don't worry.
Okay.
Great. So
if you look at that's just a spoiler from looking at the covers.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, I remember like reading them before we read this. Like, this is when Batman meets Robin. I'm like, now I'm going to meet Robin here on this episode. Okay.
So Zuko was supposed to meet the Scarecrow that night for something. So he wasn't at his regular spot, which allowed the cop to get killed or something like that. Batman's interrogating him about that. I don't know. Then he goes looking for Scarecrow, and Scarecrow is at the Gotham Toy Factory, which used to do a lot of charity work for the Waynes, but now it's out of business. But somehow it still is like a working factory. And the Scarecrow is there he's filling toys with poison, like a doll, and he sprays this poison at Batman, and they fight. And then they're fighting in a truck, and the truck goes off a pier, and then the Scarecrow never surfaces. Okay. But Batman cut the noose off of Scarecrow's neck, so he has a clue now. I'm not quite sure what clue.
It's very video gamey. You're just like, okay, I guess we'll see Scarecrow later.
Yeah, it's the scene was definitely there. So now we have. So this is what I wrote down, that this is Zuko's two dumb kids, but I guess they're not his kids. They're a different family. These are the Maroni kids.
Yes.
Marconi? Maroni? What was it?
I think it's Marconi.
Sophia has said, all right, we got to torch the cheetah. That's the strip club. We got to torch it. And one of them makes a joke about her dad still being alive since he's not in the grave. She shoots him in the arm. Not very nice, but that is what it is. Selena is now waiting for Bruce on Christmas Eve. Batman, however, is not there. He's at the Falcone estate, and he is harassing Alberto about the whole electronic ankle thing. He's like, admit it, you fucking killed these people on the holidays. How'd you get around it? He's like, it's roughing him up and all this. It's not a very smart move, Batman. So now, okay, Jim Gordon and Janice Porter are Christmas shopping together for some reason.
That's why I thought they were banging.
Maybe that makes sense. But no, they're not banging. They get notification that they need to go to this estate because Mario's like, hey, we got to talk. And Mario tells them that Batman showed up. But then they're also like, yeah, I think my brother might be crazy because he's also hearing voices. And he says that Dad is haunting this building. Cool. The cliffhanger here is Alberto is in bed still hearing voices, which it's a weird cliffhanger for something that we've already seen. Cool. Issue 4. Lost. We are now, so all the issues were jumping around like a month at a time. Now we're on New Year's Eve, so it's only a week later here.
I think it's how Long Halloween also did, right?
Did it? Okay.
I think it did. Exactly that.
Batman has been.
No, I think it was Martin Luther King Day.
There is a scene where like it's either the calendar. I think Calendar Man has a bunch of like minor holidays listed on his walls, and yeah, it did make me think like, is he gonna kill somebody every day? Anyway, Batman has been leaving food now in the sewers, trying to draw Solomon Grundy out, and he's finally succeeded. He did put horse tranquilizer in the food so that it would make Solomon Grundy easier to deal with.
And he answered my question of why he didn't just leave the same food out and he kept replacing it. It's because he didn't want Solomon Grundy to get rancid food.
Yeah,
he's very conscientious.
Nice. He's a very nice Batman. And also we have another murder has happened. Who was this? Some weapons guy who used to work for the cops, and Justice
another
for
cop.
All.
Another cop.
Yeah, another cop. It's all cops. We have Solomon Grundy leads Batman to Harvey's office in the sewers. Harvey has like a full office in the sewers. It's literally like flooded up to where the desk is almost all covered, and Batman's just standing there with like it's so weird to me when superheroes in their costumes are just like standing there in sludge. Very unusual. And Batman goes to open a cabinet, but there's dynamite. Oh my God, get down. Blah. They're fine. Don't worry. Selena then goes to visit Sophia, and she says, hey, I'll bring your dad's body back for $1 million. They have a fun little scene where she's like, well, how do I know you don't already have my dad's body? He's like, well, you don't know that. So now Selena gets to work on finding this body. Janice Porter is leaving work. Somebody approaches her. Oh, yeah. Somebody approaches her, and she says, you're all wet. And then they kiss, and she goes, now I'm all wet, too. Whoa.
This is a book for children.
Yeah.
Gross.
Well, they won't know what it means. They'll think that you just got her wet.
Yeah. That Jeff Loeb with his double entendres. No, I remember my cousin Mitch said that he read both of these when he was 12. So
I don't think he got that when he was
I don't think he got that joke. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Gordon now has this list from that Chief O'Hara gave him back in the first issue. I guess he's just now looking at it 3 issues later. And it's a list of people that he can trust, which did make me laugh a little bit, which... How do you know? Like, wouldn't it make more sense to have like a list of people who you can't trust? I don't know.
Well, it's Gotham City, Kia.
That's what you can't trust anybody. These are the only trustworthy people. But exactly. I don't know. How do you know you can trust them? Whatever.
Because Chief O'Hara told him.
That guy's dead. What does he know?
True.
But Gordon is now putting together an undercover squad for people to investigate the killer, and he invites Janice Porter to the team. What? Why? Stupid. He hates her. And she released Falcone. What?
And she's brand new. Like, if anybody's a traitor.
It's her. She wasn't on the list.
No, I don't remember Chief O'Hara saying anything about her.
Yeah, terrible. So now we're getting to issue 5. It's called Love, and it's January 6th now. It's only a week. This is where I wrote, "What the fuck? We're not jumping by months at all." But then later in this issue, they jump forward a month. I think what happened is that Jeff Loeb forgot he wanted to write this scene into the last issue, so he put it here. But it's the dumb Italians. They got thrown in jail last issue because of the whole fire thing with the strip club. And then Lucia Vitti, another mob lady from Chicago, has come in to post their bail. Whoa, what's she doing here?
That's one of the families that Holiday was killing a lot of. Was the Vittis.
I see.
Another
I don't remember that.
Batman creator reference, I think. I forget which particular VD it is, but I think he's like a colorist or something back in the day. Anyway.
Yeah. So then we don't really learn much about what's going on between them, but we do jump forward a month to Valentine's Day, February 14th. Batman has been shot. Oh no. Batman went looking for some dude named Pratt.
Chris
thinking
Pratt?
that he might.
Yes.
I definitely thought Chris Pratt as well, but it's not.
Frank Pratt.
Thinking this guy. What was his name? George Pratt.
Frank Pratt,
Whatever.
and he's wearing camouflage.
Oh, it's Frank. Okay.
On the roofs of the city. I don't feel like that's going to help him.
Not at all. But this guy is like a munitions guy, and Batman went trying to protect him, and that guy got spooked and started like running from Batman, and then Batman got shot. Wakes up, and the poor dude has been hung.
Yeah.
Too bad. The note says, "And justice for all." And guess what? It's on a picture of Gilda Dent, Harvey's old wife. What?
Dun, dun, dun. I will say, I mean, it's always true of these kinds of like slasher mystery things. When you find out who the killer is, it makes no sense that they were able to sneak up on this like trained weapons guy and hang him while Batman is like temporarily like recovering from being shot.
Yeah, what the heck?
There's a lot of time that's required for like setting up a tableau like that.
Yeah, it would take probably an hour, and someone who is very strong. So I don't know. I have some questions. I mean, Harvey Dent, far too weak. Could never do it.
We'll see who it is. Maybe it's Solomon Grundy.
It could be Gilda Dent. She's still around.
Yeah, it could be Solomon Grundy. Good point.
He was born on a Monday.
Imagine like a Usual Suspects scene as he's like walking away like Solomon Grundy born on a. Anyway, like now to
and like that, Solomon Grundy is gone.
Batman's like, wait a minute, he's been singing a nursery rhyme this whole time.
So now Catwoman is going around beating people up to try and look for the body. She finds the Riddler as well, and Riddler's like, yeah, he's hiding in plain sight. So she goes to the morgue. She's looking for the body of Falcone, right? Riddler's like, oh, the body is being hidden in plain sight. So she goes to the morgue. But somebody attacks her from behind. So,
well, it's been removed from the morgue or from the cemetery recently.
I feel like that finger was in real good condition for hanging out in that crypt for a year.
That's true. I don't know. The Falcone siblings are now gathered at the estate. Alberto tells Sophia that he thinks that their dad is alive. She thinks he's crazy. Batman shows up at the morgue to save Catwoman, and Falcone's body isn't there. He also got the info from the Riddler. Catwoman kind of hits on him a little bit and was like, hey, we should tell each other who we are. He doesn't take it, so she just says, Happy Valentine's Day. She bolts. Gordon heads home, and the door was unlocked. Oh, shit. And it's a holiday, and so he's like, freeze, motherfucker. But it's his wife. His wife Barbara's home. How nice. Oh, how sweet. They kiss. The next day...
He thought the holiday killer brought a baseball glove and bat into his house, as all trained killers do. not his wife and son.
Yeah. Well, I guess things were pretty rough. That was like the last thing on his mind, that they might be home. Also, like... I don't know. Couldn't you have called to let him know you're coming home? Whatever.
No cell phones, Gia. You have to remember, no cell phones.
It's a surprise.
Wait, how did they know when they were out shopping? When they needed to go visit? Whatever.
They got paged.
I don't know.
The beeper.
Oh, they got paged. Right. Beepers. Yep.
Work beepers.
The next day, Bruce goes to visit Selena, but there's a moving company taking all of her stuff into storage. and she's left a note saying that she's left the city, doesn't want to be found. Wow. Guess they're over.
Yeah, time to read Catwoman When in Rome to figure out what the hell's going on with that.
And then the cliffhanger here, we got Porter getting dressed up all fancy and nice, and guess who's in her room? Who's she been kissing with? Two-Face! It's Two-Face! He's here! Harvey Dent's here! And he's looking all Two-Facey. Wow. Look at this guy.
Dun, dun, dun. He was sneaking into the hotel the whole time.
Wow. Now, issue 6, Hate, is what it's called.
This is our last issue of the day, right?
This is our last issue of the day, yes. Batman's narration is going like all over the notes from before, and he's repeating the notes that what was one of them was saying. I wrote down that one of the notes was guilty as sin, but Batman calls it guilty as charged. I don't know. I feel like they made a mistake here. Anyways, he's going after more bad guys. He's going after the Penguin this time, and to get like information about Harvey, which wasn't Harvey just like, as of a year ago, a good guy, and like why
he had a dark side.
I know.
But yeah.
Okay, yes, I know that now he's got his dark side, and like maybe he had his dark side before, but like, why would the Penguin know Two-Face's whereabouts? I don't understand that.
Because he's got little penguins with rockets that are swimming around the sewers, like in Batman Returns.
It doesn't really. I mean, there's like that big prison break in issue 1, but then it's just like, but the Riddler and the Penguin are just like hanging out. Like,
yeah, why do they know? Why would they know any of this information about where this other dead body is? Like, they're not related to this crime. They're just there. They're just bad guys. Yeah. I feel kind of sorry for the Riddler and the Penguin.
They seem to be pretty lame, and this is where the action scene I was talking about that doesn't make any sense. Penguin like gets on like a chain between boats or something, and like, what is he doing? Like, is the Penguin secretly like a great trapeze artist or something? Like, I don't understand how he's able to cross this, and he's making like little penguin noises. It's embarrassing.
or I thought it was like Waluigi's like, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm more confused about his teeth than anything in this image.
Yeah,
his teeth. Too. There is a very stylistic choice with the Penguin in particular, where, yeah, he doesn't. His teeth are very disturbing,
but not like
they're
how
like baby teeth.
They're baby teeth compared to like the Joker, Tim Sale's Joker teeth, which are like, 5 inches long each, and there's 50 of them. And this is like there's maybe 7 teeth in the Penguin's mouth, and they're all the size of pebbles. Like,
and they're far away from each other.
Yeah,
very weird.
I don't like it. Bad
design. Gordon's team now is having a meeting up by the bat signal, and they're like, talking about their plans. And the Batman drops the Penguin at their feet. Blah. I mean, Mario then shows up at his sister's place, Sofia Falcone Gigante, to say, hey, you can't use the Falcone name for illegitimate activities anymore. You can be Gigante if you want. I don't care. Stop doing it.
Don't be branding your criminal activities with my brand.
Yeah.
Which I do feel like he's being very hypocritical, because it's just like, your father was a master mob criminal. Like, that's how you have money and your family has a name, is through criminal activities. So, if anything, you're the one who's abandoning.
Yeah, he should be making a new name like Meta or Alphabet or something. He should be trying to do that.
Yeah, like those, Vince. That's
great examples. A mob family turning good named Alphabet. I think that's good.
Distract from the bad name that has a negative connotation.
Yeah.
WorldCom instead of MCI. This all makes sense.
We have Barbara.
They should make references to that in 1999.
MCI. Wow. We have Barbara waiting for Jim at the cop hangout bar. Then Janice Porter shows up and asks about Gilda. And was like, hey, were you all friends? And Barbara was like, yeah. She just kind of disappeared after the whole Harvey Dent going into Arkham stuff. But Porter's like, you think she's still alive? We don't get the answer because Jim shows up. Also, his drunk cop friend Merkel is there. You probably shouldn't be drunk on what holiday was this?
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day. Yes. I mean, I guess you had to be drunk on St. Patrick's Day, but like, there's a cop killer on the loose who's killing people on holidays. Like, don't they know this?
Yeah, they should be saluting Chief O'Hara at this cop bar.
Oh yeah.
They should maybe.
He's been dead for like 5 months now, but he would have wanted them to, toast his whatever. I don't know, some Irish.
Are the cops allowed to get to drink while on duty and in costume or uniform?
I don't think they're supposed to.
I mean, all the cops are bad here in Gotham. I guess that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, Gotham is
in Gotham doesn't need the qualifier. Heyo, we've got okay. So Jim is like, hey, my drunk friend just went home on a holiday. Oh no, I'm worried about him, and he runs out and he's disappeared. We have the Joker shows up at Two-Face's place, and I don't know. They have a little scene. They put a gun to each other's head. Does Two-Face beat him up? Is that what happens? Yeah,
no,
Two-Face beats him up.
Yeah, he smacks him, and they're like, Joker's basically like, okay, I'll work for you. And you're like, what? Why?
I don't know. I don't even know why they met in the first place. And then this poor cop gets hung up in the backyard of Harvey Dent's old home. And the note is on the deed to their house. I didn't write down whatever the hangman gave.
It says a jury of your peers.
Does it? It could be
a jury of your steers, yeah.
If you're could be. So that's the first 7, but really 6 issues of Batman Dark Victory. We'll pick up next time with the back half, 7 through 13. Is the Fools the next issue?
Yeah.
Yeah. What holiday could it be? It comes after St. Patrick's Day.
Easter? Battle of Flowers Parade.
Yeah, I think Batman's gonna rough up some Catholic priest the Easter issue.
Ooh, and then it's 420. Is that gonna be covered? I don't know.
Hell yeah. Batman beats up a hippie.
So it's definitely a comic. It's not like a painful read or anything. It's just like, all right, I'm just kind of reading it. It's there. I don't know. There's nothing has really grabbed me. I don't. If we never finish this, I probably wouldn't care. But I am mildly curious to be like, all right, who is it? How is this gonna go?
Yeah. So I think that a decently written Batman book, which this isn't great, and reading it the second time through now with us with this episode, I'm like, oh yeah, none of this makes sense. But the first time I read it, which is actually the second time I read it, because I read this after we did Long Halloween. I don't remember a goddamn thing about it. And I texted cousin Mitch, and he similarly goes, I don't remember a goddamn thing about it either. So, but there is something really nice about a Batman or Spider-Man comic book that you can read and just let it go in one ear and out the other, and just see and I saw Poison Ivy, I saw the Penguin who looked weird, I saw the Joker, I saw Two-Face, I got a mob story, a mystery that doesn't make sense upon further scrutiny, but it's a perfectly pleasant read. It's not great, it's not good, but it's fine. It's
good.
It's not infuriating. It's not infuriating. It's not like making me be like, this has ruined Batman, or this is incomprehensible. And there are, Chris, you've read a lot of Batman comics recently. There are bad Batman comics. This is fine, I guess. I enjoy it. I think that the book doesn't give a shit about its mystery though. I feel like there should be a mystery about who Hangman is, but right now it's Harvey Dent. Don't worry about it. That may change, but right now it doesn't seem to care.
But that's also just like in the last one, it's so obviously Harvey that it's not him, right? I mean, there's no way.
Right.
If you were picking suspects, you're like, why would it be Harvey? The guy who all the clues point to.
But the book is acting like he is, not like I wonder who it is. It's just like it's Harvey Dent. That's how the book is acting. So I know it's not the case because otherwise it's a really bad whodunit. But it is a bad whodunit. So
yeah, it's not a great whodunit anyway. I'll just tell you.
Is it Robin?
Yeah, Robin is the killer. Actually, the reader is the killer. It turns out Batman points at you and is like, you did this. You couldn't stop reading.
That's pretty cool. I've always wanted to be a villain. That's
never been done before. Yeah, it's like the Haunted Mansion. You look and there's a hologram of yourself as a villain. Pretty great. But yeah, I mean, this is I think I haven't re-listened to our episode. I think I was a little cooler on the Long Halloween than you guys back in the day. My position has not really changed. Like, I don't dislike this. I just don't think it's very like great. Like Vince said, like Hush is the same way, where it's just like you get to see all the cool villains and it doesn't make any sense. But it looks good. Like, I mean,
Why do we keep reading Jeff Loeb comics?
This is
I don't.
I mean, we read him last episode with Age of Apocalypse? We did say that Jeff Loeb is only good with really great artists like Jim Lee or
That's
Tim
fair.
Sale.
That's fair.
He did just do, I think, the plotting or the scripting or one or the other. He didn't do all of
Right.
Astonishing X-Men. But yeah, I mean, I think as a writer he is very overrated. This is very much a greatest hits. Like, if the Batman cartoon and various movies we've mentioned didn't exist, I don't think this could exist. If people want to see like good Batman, check out the Batman animated series episode on HBO of The Trial, where all the villains show up, or Almost Got Him, where all the villains show up. Like, those are like, it's literally the same thing. Like, if you just want to see like 5 villains talking to each other, just watch that.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm excited for the new Batman movie that'll come out, I think, before our next episode or right around our next episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a new Batman. Like, he's actually going to like talk to the Joker and Riddler and not Joker, but I'm sorry, like Riddler and Penguin and a few other villains, like all in the same thing. I think he's supposed to be doing like a detective thing, so he's got to go rough up all the different villains to go find out what's going on. And I'm like, that sounds great.
Right.
I saw they cast Colin Farrell as the Penguin, which is insane casting, though. I don't.
And Paul Dano is the Riddler.
Like,
I don't know.
well, Paul Dano is the Riddler. I could see because he's very punchable.
Yeah,
but Colin Farrell is like such a handsome man. Like, they have
he's
to
gonna
ugly
have,
him
he's
up
gonna have
so
some,
much.
he's
to
gonna
be
have
like,
some big jowls. They're gonna give him some jowls.
yeah, like
He's
just,
still gonna be more
just
handsome than he was as Bullseye.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to top that performance, but I'm sure he'll try. But anyway, yeah, that's Batman: Dark Victory.
And of course, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have a strong recommendation for it, but I don't think it's bad.
Yeah. Well, we'll of course keep reading it next time, issue 7 through 13, so we'll get a full opinion once the mystery is solved here. But for right now, we need to jump into the Korvac Saga. We are reading Avengers number 167 today, the official first issue of the Korvac Saga. And there's an alarm going off at Avengers Mansion. The Beast was in the shower and he had to run out with a robe on. I like this note that Beast has like a 5-gallon jug of shampoo that he knocked over because like he just needs a lot of shampoo for his furry body. I can relate. There's a message from Nick Fury on the video. We got Beast, Cap, Scarlet Witch, and Vision at the monitor they're watching. And there's this Shield space station where Nick Fury is at. And there's a giant spacecraft that has showed up right next to it. And they need help because they're going to like crash into them or something.
Yeah. Beast, as he's hopping around, he's like all wet. And then to show that everyone else, I mean, Captain America is like, well, if you had woken up at 0500 like I did, you would be ready. But Scarlet Witch is also like, Beast, you dripped all over me. And also she's shoeless. I repeat, shoeless. A young Quentin Tarantino reading this comic is awakened.
We have Tony Stark is also here, but he's on board the Shield station because he's like a consultant for Shield or something. They don't know he's Iron Man. He's like, hey, I'm gonna leave. I'm requesting to leave because I'm busy all of a sudden.
So he has to fly all the way back to Earth to then hop a car to fly all the way back to the base that he was just on.
Yes.
And Cap is mad at him. He's like, "Where have you been?"
Cap is so mad. Oh my god, that's the maddest I've ever seen Cap in any comic ever. He's just like pissed at Tony Stark. No, he's pissed at Iron Man. He doesn't know it's Tony Stark. Yeah. Where the fuck were you? And then Iron Man's pissed right back at him. He's like, "Shut up about it. Let's just go. We're already late."
We don't want to skip over Wonder Man and Thor's diner scene.
Oh yes. Go ahead.
They are hanging out at like a 50s diner, and like Wonder Man's like, "Oh, you keep teleporting away after our battles? That's weird."
Yeah.
And then he starts to open up. He's like, "Look, I don't know how to say this, but I don't want to die. I don't know if I'm cut out for this." And then, of
And
course,
then
there's an emergency.
his beeper goes off. What does he call it? He calls it like a people beeper. What he calls it? Something like that. It's
Yeah.
very weird. Yeah. And so they head to Shield. So we got all 7 of them. They suit up and head to Shield, and then they suit up more and head into deep space. And they board this giant vessel through an airlock that opens for them.
At this point, how
And,
does Thor not remember this?
Yeah, I was like, I'm a little bit confused by. I mean, he remembers it soon enough. Once they meet, like they all split up a little bit into like pairs, except for Beast, who's like, yeah, Beast, you're alone. There's 7 of us, so you're alone, Beast. Beast
We're not doing a
runs into
3-person
couple-
group. We're not going to do it.
Yeah, we can't
No.
do it. Beast runs into a couple members of the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's got a real racist line in there somewhere. Plus, they're calling him a monkey because, he's a beast. I guess that's okay. But there was a weirdly racist line from Beast here that I didn't like. But then the rest of the Guardians show up, and they're like, hey, you got to stop fighting.
Earlier, he says, maybe there's going to be a Made in Japan sticker on this space station. And so then he does like a Mickey Rooney accent.
Cool.
Very weird. So they all stop and meet. So all the Avengers split up. How do they all show up back here at the exact same time and knew to come back?
I guess they must have met up with each other, and then Thor was like, oh, I remember. Okay.
Yeah, let's go here.
It's because I was in the space station in the future, so I got confused about what space stations are in what time periods.
This makes sense to me. I get that. But we meet all the Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't even write them all down because I know we just met them, but it's all the same people from last time. There's a nice little scene where they all like are talking a little bit, and they pick up and they were like, "That's right, Martin X," so that we learn everyone's voice, everyone's name. Except what was the girl's name? I don't think they said her name.
What was her
name?
Fire
Yeah,
or
I
something.
feel like they didn't. I don't remember them mentioning it in this comic.
Nikki?
Well, yeah, that's her real name, but I don't think that's her
I don't know.
superhero name.
I'm sure we'll learn more about everybody. There's not much that actually goes on with them. They're just like, hey, here we are. We're friends. And Thor's like, oh yeah, I met them. And they're like, hey Beast, why didn't you recognize them from the Avengers files that we made?
I guess it is
And,
just Nikki. What a terrible superhero name.
Meanwhile, back on Earth, I don't know how much this matters to the whole Korvac saga, but Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, is having her first fashion show, and Hank Pym is there.
Yeah, well, they're like, Korvac has gone back in time to kill Vance Astro. So they're like,
that.
yeah, they're like, he's got to be, he's on Earth, I guess. We got to track down this robot man who's got crazy powers.
Okay. So that's the whole deal. That's the point of everything. All right. So Janet Van Dyne's having her first fashion show. Hank Pym is there. Nighthawk is also there for some reason. What's his name?
Kyle Richmond.
Kyle Richmond, yeah. And there's also like a dude next to Hank Pym who's wearing a tux, who is like very sternly sitting there, not saying a word and looking like a real weirdo. And Hank is just like, oh well. The quiet guy really perks up with one of the models on stage who comes out. Karina Walters is her name. I wrote it down because it seemed like it might be important.
Yes.
And then the porcupine shows up to Rob's place, which made me laugh heartily because the porcupine sucks. And
what
he's
a wonder. There's so many superheroes in this room.
He's no porcadillo.
And we have the Yellow Jacket and Wasp. They shrink down to get to work. Nighthawk helps them out.
I love how they lampshade just bullshit. She's like, I don't know what possessed me to have this dress made of unstable molecules. Otherwise, I'd be naked. It's like, why did you make that dress that way? That makes no sense, Janet. Why did you do that?
Yeah, why did you do that?
And why did why did you think to yourself, it's a good thing I did, or I'd be naked right now? What a weird thing to think.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a good thing I remembered to put clothes on today. Otherwise, I'd be naked right now.
So meanwhile, this quiet blonde dude extends his hand to Karina Walters, and there's like a very silent offer and like a look in his eyes, and she's like really taken by him, and she accepts this silent offer, and then they like disappear. They like teleport, like a light shines, and then they're gone. And then afterwards, they're like, "Hey, where'd Karina go?" And they're like, "Oh, she probably ran away in the commotion."
Yeah. Nighthawk shows up and also helps.
Yeah. And then that's kind of it for this first issue. Not a whole lot really going. I guess we'll learn more about who this blonde dude was and why Karina Walters might be important, and what's going on with all the Guardians of the Galaxy and how they're going to relate to all this. But not really a whole lot to go off of just yet.
Yeah, it's just the Guardians moving back through time, and the Avengers meeting them. I guess I liked Thor's. They're like, Thor, you met the Guardians too? He's like, oh yeah, that was just recently. That's why I didn't tell you guys about it. Like, I guess all the Avengers are supposed to like write down their adventures so that all the other Avengers know. Because like Captain America is kind of mad at Beast. He's like, you would know this if you reviewed the files.
But then I think somebody else speaks up for Beast. I'm like, hey, he's still kind of new. Maybe he hasn't gotten there yet.
Yeah, it's like you would clearly know on sight from our descriptions of Charlie 27, a man from 1,000 years in the future, what he looks like.
What he looks like.
And Yondu, I mean, I guess Yondu is one where it's like, okay, he's got like a bright red mohawk and he's got an arrow that he controls with a whistle. I feel like that's enough where you don't need a picture. You read that and be like, oh, there he is.
That's Yondu.
That's Yondu.
But dang, like you got to memorize a lot if you want to be an Avenger. Like, dang, that's a lot of case files to study.
It's true. That's why they only take the best of the best. Like, I don't know. Let me think of a really lame Avenger. Tigra.
Tigra. I bet she didn't study anything.
She probably not.
Probably not. That's why she's not an Avenger anymore. So we have. I think that's it for this issue. It's really not. I mean, is there anything else we really can say about the Avengers issue right now? It's kind of hard to talk about it until we've gotten deeper into the.
It seems like they resolved whatever that weird thing was in space really quickly. It seemed like they were worried it was going to crash, and then they didn't.
It looks really good. It's George Perez art, which I don't know if we mentioned. We've got Perez drawing.
That was the
Beast,
whole one of the big points of us reading.
Perez drawing Beast looks great. I mean, all of his other characters I think are fine, but Beast I think is the standout, like really good. I feel like that's the definitive version of like that 70s Beast. So yeah, and then the rest of it is it's him doing space stations and stuff looks pretty cool. The fashion show, I don't know, like that was a weird choice.
Who wrote this? Jim Shooter and David Michelin? Okay, yes. Jim Shooter. I mean, I like the writing as well for what it is. There is those like fun little lines and everything. It is pretty distinctly a 70s comic, but
and like, Jim Shooter, I mean, he famously, I don't think, have we talked about him on the show before, Vince?
Jim Shooter?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, one, I'm getting confused with Jim Starlin, but no, we talked about. What did we talk about with him with his shadow line? I mentioned that, so I know I talked about him. What did we cover with Jim Shooter? I cannot remember now.
Yeah, I don't remember.
He was an editor, right?
Yeah, he's best known as an editor for Marvel in the late 70s up until the late 80s about 10 years. And he really, he was controversial, but he did a great job in that he got a lot of very good creators on, good books, doing good work. But yeah, he was kind of he started writing Legion of Superheroes in the 60s when he was a teenager, like literally like 15 or 16. And he was writing DC Comics. So he is like, he has kind of a formula for his team books, which is every character has like a thing. Which, as we continue to read, will become very apparent. But I like his general sort of, he does a good job of sort of spinning plates and moving things forward as we go. And like I said, George Perez, good.
Did he write or just edit Secret Wars?
He did write Secret Wars. That would be the thing that we covered.
Did we read Secret Wars? We did.
Yeah,
we did.
It was a long read,
a while back. Yeah,
it was after Crisis by George Perez.
Which I don't think we particularly liked, but you could also see his writing in there that everybody had like a thing.
Yeah, that absolutely tracks for Secret Wars, which would be after this.
Very good. Well, so next time we will get into more Avengers. We're going to be, of course, reading issue 168, which immediately follows this. There's a typo.
We don't have to do that
Okay.
skip. I don't remember where that is, but it's not yet.
The skip is
it's
169.
169 is a
Okay,
fill-in.
nice.
I wrote Avengers, which I guess would be avenge exclusionary radical feminists. I don't know. And then of course Dark Victory 7 through 13. So yeah, more of the same from this episode. It's a two-parter in every sense. So that's next time. What else is going on though for us? Chris, how's your Stupid Minds doing?
Two-Face would be proud of this two-parter. Your Stupid Mind's doing great. We've done 3 episodes in 2022 already. We're going back to bi-weekly. We just recently released the episode that I said we would be releasing, Artemis Fowl, a very bad movie about a young anti-hero who befriends Josh Gad and lots of other mystical creatures. And it's just not very like, I watched that movie 2.5 weeks ago, and the amount of things I remember are rapidly decreasing to 0.
Great.
But we make some funny jokes about it, so listen to our funny podcast where we take it down a notch.
Great. Vince, how about you? What's going on with you here?
That Was a Game just posted its second episode. It's a monthly show on the All My Friends Are Right Here YouTube channel. It's That Was a Game, and this month we covered Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympic Games 2010 for the Nintendo DS. It's a game where Bowser and Robotnik steal all the world's snow, so the Winter Olympics can't happen. And then Mario and Sonic have to put aside their console war differences to save the Olympics. It's a beautiful game. The DS version specifically has a story mode where you go and talk to Tails and get missions from Chows and fucking Shy Guys and bullshit. It's fun. It's a really bad game, but it's stupid, and I love it. So check that out on That Was a Game. All My Friends Are Right Here YouTube channel.
Amazing. And what do I got to talk about? Just playing some Pokemon, playing some Sekiro. Excited for Elden Ring, and that's what I'm gonna do when that comes out. But I think that's everything for today here. Listener, thank you so much for listening. Vince, I love you.
I love you too.
Chris, I love you.
I love. I'm being choked.
Oh,
Oh no!
Is it what day? What holiday is today? Oh my God! Yesterday was Valentine's Day. Shit.
Oh no, it's
It's gotta
Valentine's
be.
Day. Oh
It's the
no!
Valentine's killer. Oh my God. Well,
It's not the President's Day killer.
Too bad. Too bad that Chris is dead.
It's because I look like Abe Lincoln. That's why the President's Day killer is targeting me.
You got mixed up. There's some modern day asshole who looks like John Wilkes Booth coming after you. God damn. All right, and listener, we love you as well. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.